G'day everyone, it's me, the Anti-Theocrat, back with another one. I wanted to discuss something I really don't want to discuss. Hooray! Oh, look, I want to stay as far away from the racism that's coming out of the protests in the US as possible. The low expectations and all the other crap that's going on there. So as often as possible, I address things that I see that just bug me. I'm staying. I will address this in terms of the idiots who think they've got something to protest over here in Australia and are doing stupid things like having a march for refugees and Aboriginals, as if those two things can be combined and have the same issues. Because none of the refugees are ever going to live in remote Aboriginal communities, and yet they have access to similar funding and assistance to the Aboriginal communities. The Aboriginal communities' issues are much worse, and part of that is because people just keep wanting to feed money to support them, and what we've done is destroy a independent and strong people with welfare dependence. And I'm so anti us feeding more money to that community because it is just getting squandered. We need to build the Aboriginal population up, not bring them down with fucking welfare dependence. It's the best way to destroy any people is to make them welfare dependent. That's my view on things these days. And I'm not anti-welfare. I just think we overuse it as a way to pat ourselves on the back for having done something. I live in outback Australia. I live in Aboriginal dominated areas of the country, and I see the real crap going on, and I see the problems. So, yeah, you're going to protest someone getting killed in America, and you're going to bring that to Australia as if we've got the same problems, as if we've got the same police force, as if we've got the same legal system, as if we've got the same blackfella problem. Right? We just don't. And I know you're going to say, oh, blackfella, that's a racist term. No, that's actually a standard term in Australia, and I'm sorry. I just don't give a fuck, right? My best mate at school and myself, he called me honky, and I called him boom. And that was just, day-to-day life for us, and it had nothing to do with racism. It just had to do with a bit of playful banter between me and Joe. And he's actually one of the few people that I miss, having moved on from quite a few social settings in my life to keep moving on with my life. And I wish I knew what happened to Joe. Joe, if you're out there, give us a buzz. But anyway, I wanted to look at the low expectations thing first before we kick off with the rest of this. This came through, it's the low IQ thought processes that go with this movement and some of the shit that I get. So, this came in my Facebook feed. I'm going to read through it for you. Too easy to stump this dolt and his vapid admirers. So there's a picture of Donald Trump, and I'm guessing it's some sort of petition online or something. Stand with President Trump against Antifa. Add your name. So the first edit is stand with President Trump against Antifa equals anti-fascism. That's Antifa equals anti-fascism. Double negative cancels itself out grammatically and becomes a positive. So the against for Antifa and the anti-fascism, he's saying cancel one another out, and that means that stand with President Trump, Antifa, fascism. I have for fascism. Okay. So the translation, because we have to clarify this, is stand with President Trump for fascism. Well, let's see who's the dolt, shall we? My comment on this was, my first comment, Antifa equals anti-fascist. Also equals communist. It isn't a capitalist or democratic organisation. Right from its roots in Germany, it's, and I should use it is, I use it's far too often when I'm typing, communist, and members still make that clear today. I don't think you get to declare communism as the only anti-fascist political system, or Antifa as the people who define anti-fascism. There was a war against fascism, and the US was on the winning side against it. I see no problem with this. This is an age-old US political stance. You have a history of being anti-communist and anti-fascist, and not without cause. I'm sorry, Mr. Vapid, but it was too easy to stump you on this one. So dear old Jerry, Mr. Vapid, comes back with, "Lol, you know you're a cuck when your best attempt to obfuscate anti-fascism is by saying, but anti-fascism must be communist. Lol, you're a cuck." Well, you know, I can handle being called a cuck. I'm pretty sure I'm not. I'm pretty sure that I've made that clear many a time that I won't cuck for anyone. But I wouldn't do it for my partners. I won't do it for any other guy. Fuck you, Jerry. But in any case, I'm not coming to the insult. You can throw your insults around. What I would have liked, however, is an argument. And you didn't give me one. All you did was call me a cuck. What the fuck is that shit, Jerry? Your intellectual level has not increased there. So anyway, someone else comes in with, Jerry, Mr. Vapid, sorry. It actually is, though, founded by German communists. And yes, he posts some graphic evidence to that, and I mean, the historical record shows it. But yes, the 1933 parliamentary wing of the Communist Party of Germany is the Antifascista Aktion, which is anti-fascist action. Yes, I don't speak German. I know Teelepeltje, which is Dutch. I don't know if that translates to the German as the same. Sometimes they're close. Anyway, I then came on and finished off with this conversation with Jerry, because Jerry hasn't replied to my knowledge at this point. Jerry, is that all you've got? Because yes, I don't care if he can call me a cuck, all he likes. The historical record will remain even when the statues are destroyed, just as your ignorance will. For the record, I actually said anti-fascism isn't communist. It's quite common to most political economic variants. Antifa don't get to claim ownership. Where are Antifa on China now anyway? China is very much fascist now with its new economic upper class and capitalists. Why not protest China? Is it because it still claims to be communist? And so Jerry at this point hasn't replied, but I just wanted to show the simplicity of thought going on with these people. Everything. I mean, the levels of racism towards black people. It's just scary. I couldn't dare to be that racist. And trust me, I can be racist. Of course I can. I actually wrote in a comment somewhere else that my racism, I grew up in largely Aboriginal-dominated areas of Australia. I slipped into a low education level and was in classes where I was the only white person. So, you know, I've lived in these places. I also lived in China. I know what it is to have racism around you, but the only time I have expressed any sort of form of racism is when someone else has made my race or their race an issue between us. When they've created something between us that is unfriendly and they've made it about race, then I will be racist. And I'm sorry, but I'm probably going to sound a bit racist as I make this video, because I'm going to follow down the line of the low expectations of these people if it so drags me that way. So what are we following? This was what gave me my kickoff. I was following, I'm over on Telegram, Paul Joseph Watson, and his Summit News popped up with this article. It has appeared in other right-wing areas, and I'm not supporting this guy or anything going on here. I'm not supporting either side of this action. But I want to point out a few interesting things that came up in the video content. All right? I'm not interested in this guy. I'm not interested in who thinks he's brave or not brave, or who thinks he was stirring shit up. Don't care, right? A, If I could stir these people up, I fucking would too. They deserve it. They deserve nothing less. I'm for closing the border on them around the area that they want to call autonomous and starve them out. Fuck them. Let's see how fast their gardens grow. And by the way, that will come up too in this because I'm not impressed by that. Okay, so man wearing mega hat carrying American flag walks through Chaz. Self-declared nation of Chaz, which is in Seattle. I know very little about American capitals, so wherever the fuck that is. So the first video is just him walking in and with his flag, and that's not my first video I'm looking at, but yeah, he's wandering in. He loses his flag. Someone nicks his flag in this one, and he also loses his hat in further one. But both are returned to him, and the people who return it to him, although it would be nice to believe they do it through the kindness of their own hearts, the discussion around him seems to be wanting to make sure that they don't stir up any negative media. It would be nice to think goodwill, and I'll give them credit for some goodwill with a few of the people in here, but really it just seems to be PR. That's why they return his stuff to him, is PR. And let's face it, he's here for PR, so who cares? Alright, our first video is this one, and we're going to try and skip ahead to 50 minutes in. These videos won't let me hold the position in the article, so let's see what we can do about skipping to 50 minutes. Okay, give me a second to bring up that audio. And we can all have a listen to the video at this point. I'll bring it up in my ear hole too, or I won't hear it and I won't know what the hell we're talking about.
Just ignore him, y'all. He wants attention and he wants you to stare. Instead, I ask you to stare at our community gardens or our community kitchens.
So, that was it. Don't stare at him. He's trying to get attention. Yeah. And he's being followed closely by a camera. I don't know if that's his or someone else, but, you know, he is trying to get attention. That's obvious. And he's doing a brilliant job of it. He keeps calm and he's, you know, just getting on doing this attention seeking. Making some sort of point, but I'm not sure what it is. And let's face it, freedom to carry a flag in your own nation. Look, my wife is still a Chinese national. If she wanted to fly a Chinese flag out the front, I'd fly it for her, but it'd get an Australian flag up alongside at the same height. Because, well, we express both our nationalities, and I don't care. If anything, the Australian flag goes a tad higher because, you know, it is this nation, but I'm not really that disturbed by flags and nations and things. Doesn't bother me. I refuse to stand to our national anthem and our flag quite often when it's being used for political gain. So, you know, whatever. It's just a tool of nationhood. And I'm not entirely against nationhood. But yes, what they want you to look at instead is their community garden and their community things. And I think she says rubbish pickup as well. Now, if these people did half these things in their real day-to-day lives rather than just when they're trying to look good, destroying a section of city, it would be a more interesting world for them, maybe. Maybe they'd feel a little less victimized, a little less... look, maybe they would just feel that their world was a little bit better if they picked up rubbish in their own communities. Maybe set up a group, go out and have a bit of a walk around, picking up rubbish together, have a chat and have a nice leisurely afternoon out picking up rubbish. Maybe if they organised a community garden, maybe if the multi-millionaires and corporations that are pandering to them politically with messages of goodwill put a few $1,000s a year into a community garden here, there and everywhere. They could do community gardening on a proper scale, not on... hang on, we'll go back to our images here and get out of it. Right, well, not on this scale. This garden is for black and indigenous folks and their plant allies. Plant allies? You're going to eat the bloody things. What are you on about plant allies? This goes with them asking for soy meat to be delivered, doesn't it? Anyway, yes, 2 inches of soil on a bed of cardboard, which looks like more or less a single layer of cardboard. Now, I live in outback Australia. I have to have planting in the ground here means your water just disappears into the ground. So you do things to avoid that. So putting beds on top of cardboard to keep weeds out and build them up is something that I actually know quite well. This is at best 2-3 inches of soil on a single layer of cardboard. This isn't going to keep this rampant grass out very long. But it's also not going to offer you any root depth to grow anything substantial. And the other problem you're going to have is keeping water up to it, because it is going to need regular, light watering. If you heavy water it and hope that that's going to do the job, you're just going to wash this topsoil straight off and, well, down the hill, because given the angle of these buildings in the back and the angle of this garden, it seems to be on a bit of a slope. So you risk washing your topsoil away if you overwater it, and you risk absolutely no plant growth if you underwater it, because this isn't going to hold much in the way of moisture. So it's an absolute piece of shit as gardens go, and I've planted a few gardens. I've farmed. I've worked in piggeries and beef cattle, and I even started a university diploma in agriculture. And the guy behind this, he's more qualified than I am. So this weed patch here, because I can't call it anything else, it looks like, well, there's some nice flowers in here. I imagine they are something. Some hippie in the bloody crowd decided to put flowers in a veggie garden that's meant to feed people. Good-o. I don't know if those are edible ones, but I'm guessing probably bloody not. Just whatever came out of a pot somewhere. But anyway, breaking news. The Chaz Community Garden is the brainchild of one man, Marcus Henderson, the guy who bought the shovel. According to, don't know, this isn't the work of a casual amateur. It isn't. It fucking looks like it. Henderson has an energy resource engineering degree. Well, that's not going to help him much with gardening, but okay, if you say so. From Stanford University. Woohoo, qualifications out the roof. And a master's degree in sustainability in urban environment. Well, that doesn't mean he knows how to plant a garden, does it? By the way, this cardboard at the top, I'm having to guess they've put walkways through this. And rather than build square beds, you still have to step over the bed to get to the middle of these bits here. So this is just bad planning, just terrible planning, however you look at it. And years of experience in working in sustainable agriculture, which he's actually never had to build from scratch, has he? Because this is a piece of shit. I mean, the fact he didn't dig it into the ground in the first place is one thing, but shit. Alright, so we're going to look at this as another way too, this lovely garden. We're going to go back to our man with the flag, and we're going to open another page here. Okay, over on the twits, Time Up Mouth Shut writes, I can help to keep a lookout for them. How do they look like? What's a sign to identify them? I would think going up to them to ask is dangerous. Anyone that is white. Okay. At this point, what? Digitally endowed straightens us out. I genuinely don't understand why we don't just round up the white people in Chaz and put them to work tending the crops or other such tasks. Things would be far more efficient with a large workforce, and it would act as a way of keeping the white menace under control. We can have an armed supervisor to watch over them as they work, so that there's no risk of any racist backlash. Now, this has been deleted, apparently, this original tweet. This is a copy of the tweet. Interesting, isn't it? That this was because if you said this was 4chan stirring shit, I'd go, yeah, this is 4chan stirring shit. But the fact it got deleted, and it was apparently on a Chaz linked tweet. Makes me think, yes, okay. This is that bigotry of low expectations, the whole low expectations thing, because obviously if you get a group of white people together and they dig the garden, it's going to be a much better garden. The black fellas obviously can't do it. Yeah, did that sound racist enough? Because that's what this says, and this is from the people behind the barrier, right? You read this and just work out how this looks. Apart from the fact that you want to keep slaves from a certain dynamic, from a certain ethnic, well, colour group, because it's not even an ethnic group, just skin colour, just based on skin colour. It doesn't look good. It really doesn't look good for you, does it? So, the bigotry of low expectations is fucking scary. And it's in everything these people seem to do. So anyway, let's get back to this guy. They want us to look at their garden and shit because it's such a fucking success. It really is. That's where the success is. Don't look at the guy with the flag. The success is in the garden. And that struck me as being something somewhat hilarious. Okay, at this point, what video are we on? Yeah, we got this one at 30 seconds in, so let's see what this one's about, shall we? Gives a tick to find 30 seconds. Okay, he's getting bothered by this guy here, this bloke, and this bloke's escorting him. He's been escorting him since he came in. Yeah, interesting, but let's move on.
He coming into the our zone.
That's it. You're coming into the Chaz zone or our zone. I'm assuming Chaz because you know I'm going to be nice. You want to instigate. You want to instigate. So this cordoned off 6 or 7 blocks of an inner city area is not an instigation. It isn't. He's instigating. Sorry, at this point I stand with the guy with the flag. I don't think he's instigating anything. I think he's stirring shit, but he's not instigating the shit. The shit was already there. So yes, these sorts of things just interest me when I hear them, and I'm going to keep going. Yes, the guy with the flag is instigating. Alright, at this point, we get some fat shaming. This woman yanks his flag and she's trying to pull it off, and some other guys of a darker skin colour, more like hers, step in and they're trying to tell her to back off and leave him alone. And she's yanking away, and this woman back here, she's supporting, but she's not fucking helping. She's just, you know, egging the other woman on. And one of the guys is told to not be walking over the top of her or some shit, and he says, no, she's pulling me towards her by pulling on the flag. I weigh less than her. This guy's fucking big. He's a big guy. But he just fat shamed this woman, I tell you, terribly. He called her fat. I'm lighter than she is. Yeah, fat bitch. Yeah, it was good. And none of them caught it. It was good, but none of them caught it. Alright, this one is the last one in the sequence, and this is the one I want to go out on. So, at 40 seconds, we'll try and find 40 seconds around here. Righto. They've crowded him against a fence, and this guy here is making some sort of rash demands at him that he hand over the flag, I think, and then he'll be allowed to leave the Chaz, the Larping zone. But yes, I think this guy's demanding the flag before he's allowed to go. That's what I got from watching the video. And I will link this page, by the way, and you can go through all these yourself and the story if you wish. But yes, we'll move on.
If you're not helping, back the fuck up.
If you're not helping, back the fuck off. Who's helping? What?
Oh, for real, leave him alone.
Right, this guy with the blue, I'd love to have a chat with him one day. Sit down and have a natter with him, because I think if he wasn't involved in this shit, he might actually be a sensible and sane human being.
We got it! We got it! We got it!
Okay, at this point, this guy seems to be demanding the flag, and this guy seems to be saying, I paid $50 for it, you're going to pay me $50 for it. Ta-da, they fined $50.
Give me the flag! You said $50! Fair trade, man! Fair trade, right now!
Now, this is essentially so they'll let him go free. They've got him bailed up against the fence. They won't let him go free until he hands over the flag. He names a price. They come up with the price.
Listen, sir. Hey, look around you. Look around me.
Thank you.
He takes the money, as agreed, and hands over the flag. And he's going to leave. So where's the next step?
Can you go to the gate now, please?
Hey, stop.
Can you get that on camera?
Well, let's fight over the flag, but ignoring the fight over the flag.
Sir, we need you to come this way, not the
You see this guy? He just said you're going to get on the ground.
I'm gonna get my shoe. Stop.
You're going to get on the ground and you're going to lick my shoes. How fucking white is this honky? How fucking white is this honky demanding that this man gets down on his knees and lick his shoes after he has negotiated his release by selling his flag? Fuck off, honky. Fuck off. Get down and suck my fucking hairy balls, you dumb shit.
Stop. Get my shoe.
He's lost a shoe. He's after a shoe so he can leave, and he's got this fucking honky here demanding he get down and lick his boots.
Back up!
Walk in the way I walk out.
This way. No, it's okay. Let him go, man. Let him go. Stop. Let him go. Okay, cool.
Back up!
Move.
Anyway, at this point, he's essentially leaving. You know, there's the harpies screaming back off and all the other shit going on. But yes, it took a honky to demand he get down and lick his boots. And he had to negotiate a release by selling his flag. It's fucking dumb shit. And he's still got this guy escorting him, by the way, who doesn't seem to be with him. So I don't know what the fuck's going on there. But it was just so fucking pathetic, this whole thing. Look at our garden, look at our rubbish collection and shit. If you people took 5 fucking minutes to do this in your daily life, in your regular daily life, maybe you wouldn't feel so fucking persecuted in your world. Maybe you would feel your neighborhoods were better places. Maybe you would feel that you were achieving or gaining something. Because, fuck, in the last 10 years, I've put myself almost $50,000 in debt to support my community. And I get people in the fucking Green Party here. When I say, you know, feeding more money to the Aboriginal community is just fucking creating welfare dependence. We need a different plan. And they say, oh, why? What have you done? Well, almost 50 grand's worth of fucking debt my family have had to pay our way out of. And we're essentially a single income family. And that's poor. That's poor people in this country. We are poor people. But I took on some projects that I promised to do, and I took them on for the community, not for myself, not because I had anything to gain from them. Although I enjoyed the experience, I didn't need it. I could have done it any other way. I put off coming to YouTube to make videos for 6 fucking years for one of the projects. So, yes, I was producing radio programs and running a fucking radio station as a technical advisor, manager, and I had 4 shows on air, plus I was producing someone else's show. So, don't fucking give me I don't do anything for my community. If half these people got off their asses and did something for their communities, maybe they wouldn't feel this way. When they say shit like, oh, don't look at him, look at our community garden, and I look at the piece of shit you created, go and ask some of your fucking millionaire funders, your BLM funders. Go and ask fucking Skittles, who are now begging forgiveness for white Skittles because they were begging fucking askance of they were begging for brownie points from the fucking LBGT, and they took out all the colour out of their rainbow. The number of corporations who've jumped on this fucking bandwagon, ask them for a fucking 10 grand donation each to put into community gardens, to put into community restoration projects and rubbish collection. Stop letting them fucking drag your want to improve things through the fucking mud with this sort of protest. Tell them if they really want to look like they're doing something, they will fund your community garden. They will go to your, in fact, fund it right there in the middle of that fucking grassy lawn in that park if you want. I'm sure that with the right corporate money and the right corporate sponsorship, you'll be able to convince the local government to allow you to have a fucking great chunk of the middle of that park for enough money. So stop fucking all this bullshit. Destruction is easier. I know. Destruction is fucking far easier. And let's face it, you're being paid to destroy shit. When the corporations are feeding money into BLM and Antifa, they are paying you to destroy shit. Now, why can't they pay you to create shit? Stop being the problem. Start being the solution. I, a poor man, sunk myself 50 odd grand into debt in the last 10 years to support my community. No corporations came to... when I took over running the cinema here to keep it alive, I bought our local cinema for $2,000. But I couldn't get any local government support, and at the end of the day I closed it because of the local government. But the corporations came in and bought tickets for their employees for a while, and that's the only thing that kept us afloat. And I closed that with a massive debt to fucking film corporations who were producing shit. So don't tell me I don't fucking know what it is to stand up for my community, but you already have corporate funding. You convince them to spend it where it needs to be spent. Alright. Getting out of this one, I just get sick of hearing bullshit from bullshit people. I get pissed off with stupidity. And that's what this is. This whole fucking movement is stupidity. It's stupidity in the US, and it is stupidity everywhere else in the world where people think that it has some fucking relevance in their countries. Right? And I'm not even going to say all lives matter, because they fucking don't. No lives matter. In the greater scope of things, the universe doesn't give a flying fuck about us. None of us matter. Within our own scope, within our own lives, we matter to about 125 people. That's biological. That's... Shut the fuck up, phone. That's the state of our biological state is our tribalism. And apparently tribes that have never been brought into our massive cities and so forth, the number is around about 125 people, I believe. And our social group through our life will be about 125 people. So these people They don't give a fuck about the Floyd guy. I don't give a fuck about the Floyd guy, so I'm not getting on my high horse about this either. I don't give a flying fuck about him. But these people don't give a fuck about him. This guy here gives a fuck about impressing this guy here, and this woman here gives a fuck about impressing this person here, right? Within their 125 people. They're pandering only to the people nearest to them. So within our human understanding of life mattering, it matters for a very short distance from our person. So I just don't give a shit. I don't give a shit what these people are on about. I don't give a shit what the fuck they think they're whinging about. If they really gave a shit, they would get together and get the corporations who are feeding their fucking faces, because they've had to start begging now for supplies, and they're getting it from corporations. If these corporations started a community garden for them instead. That's it. I've been the anti-theocrat. I'm getting the fuck out of this one. May your gods remain fictional, and I will see you in the next one.